Have you ever had a really great idea, maybe a game-changing one, but then you hit a wall trying to figure out how to actually make it happen? Well, that's what we're talking about today. We're going to dive into the fundamentals of management, which is really just the secret sauce that turns an idea into a reality.
So let's just start with the big question. How do you do it? How do you take something that's just a spark in your mind and actually build it into something real? This is the fundamental challenge that every single company, every project, every team has to figure out.
Most great things start with a group of passionate people coming together. But just having a team, even a brilliant one, isn't quite enough to guarantee success. To really get across the finish line, you need that guiding force. You need management. So we know why we need it. But now let's get into the what. We're going to see how management is the thing that provides the structure, the thing that turns a bunch of chaotic energy into focused, cohesive action.
Okay, so what is management really? At its heart, it's the process of coordinating all your resources, we're talking people, money, time, you name it, to hit a specific goal. But there are two really important words in there: efficiently and effectively. See, it's not just about getting things done, it's about getting the right things done the right way.
And you have to understand, management isn't some dusty old instruction manual you follow step by step. It's a living, breathing thing. It's this constant process of solving new problems, building relationships, and weaving all of your resources together so they work in harmony. All right, so if it's this dynamic process, what does a manager actually do all day? Well, the best way to think about it is that every manager has a powerful 4-part toolkit. These are the core functions they use day in and day out to build success.
And here's the most important thing to get about this toolkit: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. They aren't a checklist. You don't just do one and move on. They're all interconnected and a cycle. A change in your plan is going to affect how you organize, which then changes how you lead and control. It all flows together.
First up in the toolkit is planning. This is basically the blueprint phase. It's all about looking into the future and asking, where are we trying to go and what's the absolute best way to get there? This is where the whole roadmap gets created. And honestly, it's the step that most people are tempted to rush through so they can just start doing. So once you have that roadmap, it's time to organize. This is where you actually start gathering all the supplies for the journey. You're building the structure, you're putting the right people in the right seats on the bus, and you're making sure everyone has what they need to bring that plan to life. This is where theory starts to become reality. Next up, we have leading, and this is so vital. This is the human element, the engine that drives the whole thing. You could have a perfect plan and a flawless organizational chart, but if the car has no gas, it's not going anywhere. Leading is about communicating that vision, motivating your team, and getting everyone committed. It's really the art part of management. And finally, we have controlling. I want you to think of this one as the GPS, or the navigation system for your project. It's that essential feedback loop that's constantly asking, hey, are we still on track? It's about monitoring your progress, measuring how you're doing, and making smart adjustments along the way. This can be tricky because you have to find that perfect balance between staying informed and not micromanaging everybody. Okay, so we've got this powerful toolkit, but who's using it? And how does their job change depending on where they are in the company? So let's take a look at the view from the top, the middle, and the front lines. You've probably seen this a million times. Most organizations have a vertical hierarchy. Just picture a pyramid. Each level has a totally different perspective and a different set of priorities. But ideally, everyone is still working toward the same big picture goals. Way up at the top, you've got your C-suite executives, the CEO, the CFO, people like that. Think of them as the strategists, the ones looking at the huge 30,000-foot view. They set the long-term vision and spend a lot of time focused on how the company fits into the outside world. Then, in the middle, you have your middle managers. These folks are the crucial translators. They take that big, high-level strategy from the top, and they break it down into actual tactical plans that their teams can execute. They are the essential link that connects the vision to the reality. And then you have your first-line managers. These are the supervisors, the team leads, the people who are right there on the ground, in direct contact with the employees doing the work. They're the ones responsible for making sure the daily tasks get done and those tactical plans actually happen. Now, with all these structures and functions and processes, it brings up a classic debate that people have been having for ages. Is management a rigid, predictable science, or is it more of a creative, intuitive art?
So on one side, you have the science argument. This perspective says it's all about data, metrics, and logical, systematic procedures. But then you have the art argument, which says, hold on a second. Management requires creativity, gut feelings, and the charisma to inspire people, things you just can't measure in a spreadsheet. So what's the verdict? The truth is, it's a blend of both. It absolutely has to be. The truly great managers are the ones who master the science. They know the data and the processes, but they apply it all with the wisdom, creativity, and the human touch of an artist. Okay, quick sidebar. You might also hear the word administration thrown around, and it's easy to get it confused with management, but there's a pretty simple difference. Administration is generally about setting the high-level policy, the big decisions. Management is all about executing those decisions and turning them into action.
All right, let's pull all of this together. Why does mastering all these fundamentals actually matter so much? Because when you do it right, it creates the ultimate competitive advantage.
When it comes down to it, what makes a manager truly good boils down to those two ideas we talked about earlier: effectiveness, which is doing the right things, and efficiency, which is doing things the right way. When a manager absolutely nails both, they build a team that can run circles around the competition.
And that's really the fundamental truth here. At the end of the day, a company's greatest, most valuable asset is its people. Think about it. Technology can be copied, strategies can be figured out, but a well-managed, deeply motivated team, that is almost impossible to replicate. Great management is what unlocks all that human potential.
So we've walked through that entire 4-part toolkit: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Of those 4, which one is your natural superpower?